What's going on, everybody? This is Raw Dog Sports. I am Mike. That is Evo. This must be some kind of hot tub time machine. Guys, we are in for a fun show. We got a big week of football to recap. 15 games over the weekend. I'm struggling right now on the picks for the people. I'm having great individual bets on my own on the side, but man, it has been a little tough for my picks. Evo, you've done a pretty great job, though. Man, and honestly, my life has been the last week has been insane. So we were out in Wyoming, had a great time there. While I'm flying home, and I'm on the Wi-Fi trying to watch the Browns game, get the shit kicked out of them by the Steelers. And then producer Amber messages me, babe, we got a problem. Well, I'm 30,000 feet in the sky.
It's always the perfect time.
Yeah. And there's a leak coming from the roof of my living room, which is from my upstairs. Then we had to get a plumber out. Couldn't find the leak. Sent him home. Guess what? Starts to fucking leak again. So that's what I did this morning, was stay here while the plumber fixed our house. Well, I guess put 3 holes in my roof to find the leak, which I'm going to have to repatch later, which is
the roof or the ceiling?
The ceiling. I'm sorry, not the roof.
Yeah.
The ceiling.
Okay. I was going to say, if it was in your living room, of which I have been in and slept in, and I don't think going to the roof was the right idea to find the leak.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. All right. Well, home ownership. That's what Raw Dog Sports is here for, to talk about home ownership. And let me tell you, it's a motherfucker sometimes. It feels great to own a home, but all the shit that just tends to go wrong is fucking fantastic. I've had to deal with a leak myself here this summer, which nice pain in the ass. And gotta love homeowners insurance for saying, yeah, like, you have a roof leak. We won't fix the roof, but we will fix the damage from the leak. The fuck?
Yeah.
It makes sense, right? But yeah. Look, hey, it's good to be here. Gonna recap week 6, look on into week 7. Yes, betting is tough. Now, I did have a little bit of a comeback week, at least, especially during the early slate. It was rougher a little bit more towards the end. But look, it's we're going to keep on clawing. We're still above 50%. And I think we're getting in the right spot. We're getting close on some of these bets. But at the end of the day, the parity that we ask for in the NFL is definitely happening this season. Because who knows who the fuck is good outside of the Buccaneers? Who knows who the fuck is good in this league, Because some of the teams that have better records, you're like, this seems a little flimsy. Some of the teams that have mid records, you're like, well, I think like the NFC, 12 of the 16 teams are above 500, something like that. Like, crazy. You just don't know what the fuck is going on, which is making it a little bit difficult to bet, because it truly is any given Sunday. And we can't use that move quote again because we already went there. So, Mike, good to have you back in studio.
Yeah, it looks a lot better. Next time I have to travel, I got to make sure I take my extra webcam, because the webcam on my laptop is straight trash.
Yeah, those laptop webcams are made to just get you by.
Yeah,
to show that there's a person there. But it was cool getting to see, your piano and everything that you had in your setup, the sweet digs. Yeah. Great, so that was, lavish living out there for sure.
Yeah, that's how all of Wyoming looks, if you're unaware. Just beautiful like that. Super scenic. But anyways, man, it was a good time. It was a good time. I'm glad to be back home. Sleeping in your own bed is amazing. Being with with your wife is amazing. So that I'm glad to be home. I'm ready to talk about some fucking football. Not necessarily ready to talk about the Browns just yet because I'm trying to ease my way into the anger. Like I've had a really long couple of days with all the shit that's gone on. So if I have to talk about Kevin Stefanski right now, I might have a stroke.
Well, look, we can hold off on talking about that. It's a beautiful segue, a beautiful lead in to making sure that we pay the bills here with our normal little ad that we have to do, our sponsorship or cease and desist, whichever comes first. And look, this one, I have to say, I didn't make sense to me when it came in because it definitely doesn't seem like a true sponsorship. I believe that there might have been other parties involved when I received this in. You'll get it when you hear it. But today's episode of Raw Dog Sports is brought to you by none other than Tua Tagovailoa. Did you know that Tua Tagovailoa in Hawaiian actually roughly translates to Tim Tebow? Is that just a wild coincidence that two quarterbacks have the same name and neither of them are good at football? Maybe, but probably not. And we don't intend to be taking too many shots at Tim Tebow here. The truth is, despite both not being very good quarterbacks, one of them is an upstanding man with values and he stands on his morals. And the other is a man who you would ask to stand up because you think he's singing, but actually he's just short. He has questionable morals and values and would rather commit this cardinal sin of football players by pointing the fingers of blame at other guys on his team than take any sort of personal responsibility. Now, Tua made a post-game statement this week speaking about how Miami's issues start with leadership or lack thereof. But in the same statement starts to point the proverbial finger, saying that some guys on the squad would show up late to players-only meetings or not show up at all. Newsflash, numbnuts. You're supposed to be the leader in this situation. So those leaders that you're calling out,
that's you.
You're the one who should be ensuring that players actually show up and are on time to those meetings. The indictment that you're trying to make towards others is actually on yourself and your inability to be an effective leader. Also, not a great look when other players who were on the team at the time of those meetings are calling you out saying that you didn't even show up on time. Might as well name names, you coward. We'll see if you're willing to implicate yourself further. And thinking back, Tyreek Hill, he did make some difficult comments at the end of last year about the team and the organization, and you felt it necessary to air your grievances towards him publicly during the preseason and training camp. But now, for the first time ever, I kind of think I might be siding with Tyreek on an issue. Not to mention, you're developing a pretty steady habit of being a bad teammate and leader yourself. Maybe there's a reason why players don't want to show up to your meetings. Well, unfortunately, you can't just try and blame your head coach for being a meanie or something like you did last time. Well, shit. You probably can blame your soon-to-be ex-head coach for a lot of team issues, and we know that you will. Tua Tagovailoa, maybe he's an okay guy. He's kind of a decent player. He's going to get you a passing touchdown every week. But he's definitely a bad teammate. And maybe we'll get to find out if he's any good at bagging French fries sooner than later. Because if it isn't the CTE that's going to take him out of the game, his character flaws surely will. That is, of course, unless there's a quarterback-needy team who's willing to look the other way when a player has flaws or morality issues.
Damn it, don't do that.
Yeah. P.S. If it wasn't clear by my earlier statements, Brian Flores was right. Now, Tua isn't actually a sponsor of the show. I have a feeling that someone out there sent this masquerading themselves as Tua because it seemed pretty inflammatory towards Tua. But, either way, got to pay the bills. And if someone's paying, we'll take it.
Hell yeah. Great. I love that, this segment. This is becoming probably one of my favorite segments of the show. Once again, not sponsors, but we're protected under the First Amendment right, which allows us to talk shit. And satire is, completely covered. Anyways, my man, I love it. Tua, crazy crazy development. I have a question for you, which I think will just kind of help start diving into everything that's gone on throughout the weekend. Who gets fired first? McDaniel or Stefanski?
Well, it'll be interesting because I believe they're playing each other this week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be a fun little litmus test. And it kind of feels like things are at a tipping point where the loser will end up losing their job after this game. The most funny possible thing that would prove that we're in some sort of a simulation would be for like a tie to happen, like a 6-6 tie, and both coaches get fired afterwards. But that's like so highly implausible. And if it happens, Amber, clip it. But it's so highly implausible that, you know, I feel like the loser of this game probably could be getting the axe. To be completely honest, the Dolphins have shown some life, some capability of keeping themselves relatively close within games. But I just didn't feel like Stefanski was making it this week after how bad things went. But here we are. He's still your coach. If I had to guess, it would be the loser of this game that ends up getting the axe.
So
and I honestly don't know who the loser is.
Saturday's show. We'll have to save that one for Saturday's show when we make the pick.
Absolutely. But look, with that, we can kind of start to look at our week in review here. It's not all pretty. It's a little bit prettier for me. I mean, 10-5, I can't complain. If I go 10-5 the rest of the year, I'll be happy with that. But this brings our yearly totals for you up to 50.5%. And I'm at 59.1, still seeking to get to that 60 mark. I like that 60 mark or better. And I know that you do too. We got a little bit of work to climb back here. And look, that's the thing is even after a good week like this, it only really brought me up like 2 percentage points. It gets tougher as we get along. You're like that strong start really helped keep us kind of afloat. And now it's going to be a scratch, claw, grind to get back up to where we want to be for sure. But we're going to be here for you, the fans. Put in that effort to try to get these picks right.
I got to figure out, dude, I crushed the middle of the day. 1 o'clock games, my bread and butter. You give me a fucking standalone game or prime time, I can't fucking figure them out. Well, and apparently, and honestly, all the primetime games this weekend were a little shocking in the way they turned out to me.
Yeah, look, the one obviously that I got right there was Chicago plus the points, and Chicago ended up getting the win on that one. And obviously, we're going to talk about the game.
Yeah,
it was a pretty damn close game, and it took a very fortuitous turnover at the end of the game to really turn the tide because Washington was in position to get the dub.
Yeah,
and possibly ruin my Chicago plus 4.5 spread because they were already winning. Like Washington was ahead. And they were going to try to put up more points to seal the deal. It didn't work out. But with that, are you ready to actually deep dive into all of these games?
Fuck yeah, brother. Let's do it.
All righty. So, again, going off of our ESPN board here, we're going to work down the list. Not that list that you just previously saw, which is based off of FanDuel. Our first game out in London, another European game, and more to come. Broncos, Jets. Broncos eke out the win here, 13-11. I chalk this kind of lower score up to it being a European game more than anything because look, the Broncos easily were the better team here. Jets outside of Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson to an extent, who Garrett Wilson's neutered because of quarterback play. The Broncos are a better team. The Jets are real bad. They're really fucking bad. And they are absolutely trending their way towards a no-win season at this point. They do have some feistiness, but when your highlight of the year is your coach hip thrusting on the sidelines before a loss, it's not a good look. This is a team that, like, the Jets are set up to be a trap game winner at some point in time this year, but I don't know that they're going to have the mojo because as good of a motivator as Aaron Glenn might be, it's going to be really tough to keep that team involved.
Yeah, well, it all starts with the quarterback spot. Justin Fields is playing fucking terrible. We had more passing yards than Justin Fields did because he threw for net negative passing yards. How the fuck does a quarterback do that? It's like when Reggie Bush had a season where we all rushed for more yards than he did because he finished negative and then got hurt. Like when these kinds of stats come up, it's mind blowing, and it speaks to what the problem is. I think Aaron Glenn's a good coach. I just don't know. And we saw that this offense moved the ball a lot better when Justin Fields wasn't playing quarterback. Like we had that comment that came in, hey, are we going to play with Garrett Wilson or it was
Marvin Harrison?
Yeah. Like Garrett Wilson with a quarterback that can get him the ball is the better option for sure. And like fucking Tyrod could do that. I think they need to make a quarterback change if they're going to get anything done. When your quarterback throws for negative yards, I don't know how you trot him back out there the next week.
Yeah, it's absolutely the Bo Nix Award from last year in this game. Yeah. And like we've had some positive things to say about Justin Fields and positive things to say about him in the past, but it's becoming more and more apparent that the positive upside that there is there for him, like maybe he needs to go to a developmental situation like a Shanahan, O'Connell, of McVay or something like that, where he is not forced into a starting role and can actually focus on being more of a quarterback. Because right now he's a running back that has a above average arm, but it's not a winning recipe right now. And I think that truly, if they want to try to win games, it probably is going to result in them having to turn to a Tyrod Taylor. If not, making some sort of a trade for a quarterback. But at this point in the year, I don't know that it's worth it to them to make that sort of a move. Like you would have to offer up more than it's going to be worth for your season to like eke out 3-4 wins or something like that. At this point, you kind of do need to consider positioning yourself to go out there and get a rookie quarterback, of which we haven't talked a ton about the rookie quarterback class yet because it is just the end of week 6. I know that some teams are looking there already, and some teams' fan bases are doing a lot of mock drafts. Yeah. Not going to name any names, but they're on the X out there if you want to look at them. And this quarterback class is intriguing, is I think the best way to put it, because I don't know if there's any one quarterback in this upcoming class that would be worthy of a pick higher than Michael Penix or anything like that. Bo Nix territory, maybe, if we're talking about that draft. But there's a lot of guys who you're like, there's intriguing upside here, but I'm not seeing necessarily where it is like an easy transition. A lot of these guys are going to have lumps and need development, and teams are going to be needing to be willing to stick by a guy through the tough times. Your Fernando Mendoza's, there's a kid out of Harvard who's having a good year that is already getting some talk about possibly being a first rounder. You've got Baker Mayfield reincarnate out there.
Here.
Drew Aller was considered potentially the first overall pick as far as quarterbacks, but now he's down for the year. It's a very intriguing class.
Lost so many games that he shouldn't have lost. That pick makes me nervous anyways. He is your prototypical big, like he's everything that an NFL exec wants from a quarterback. He hasn't won.
Yeah, it's a very contentious situation with a lot of these quarterbacks in general. And look, it's going to be a lot of fun when we hit the offseason because quarterbacks are easily one of the most fun things to dissect and discuss when you get to the offseason. We got a long time for that. We got a whole bunch more weeks. But it is an intriguing class to say the least because there's different flavors of different styles of quarterback, all with their pros and cons. You don't have one that's truly standing out at this point above the others, in my opinion. And it's going to make the conversations pretty interesting. But at the end of the day, I think that the Jets need to focus on that big piece. And if they want to get the best quarterback available in this draft, they're doing a damn fine job of putting themselves in a position for that.
Yeah, they could be in a spot to go one win maybe, because I think they'll get somebody. Tyrod's going to get somebody. I don't know if Justin Fields is, man. I think the Jets, we play the Jets this season as well, I think. Let me double check here on this Browns schedule. But I think we do, and that could be another fucking very interesting game.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. While you look that up and see if your Browns play the Jets.
We do. So we got over our next 3 weeks, we got Dolphins, Patriots, Jets.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, if we could lose all of those games.
It's possible. It's possible.
I feel so terrible about this team right now because the offense is fucking abysmal, dude.
Yeah. Well, look, don't worry. We'll get to that. But our next game up, Cardinals and Colts. Colts get the win versus Arizona 31-27. This Cardinals defense did carry the Colts a little bit into the deep water, but they were able to get the dub here. And our big storyline, I think, has to be, because it's not surprising where the Colts are right now. They're fucking a damn good team. Number 1 in the AFC. This Cardinals team, however, we like to talk a lot of shit about Kyler and his Call of Duty. But, there's been a lot of people who are antagonistic towards Call of Duty later, and Black Ops doesn't come out until November, but Battlefield did just come out, and now he has a miraculous injury, and lo and behold, Jacoby Brissett comes in and performs fucking well. This is such an indictment on Kyler at this point.
I was going to say the same thing. Like, this offense looks a billion times better with Jacoby in this game than they have at any point with Kyler this season, I think.
Yeah, sure, they've been scrappy a little bit at the end of the games, but at the end of the day, Jacoby Brissett, which is, I guess, more of a traditional quarterback in both the height and player sense, did just that much fucking better. 27-44, 320 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, not a great completion percentage necessarily, but just way more efficient. I've kind of been banging this drum for a while. You're going to be a mediocre team at best with Kyler. Whatever sort of shine that he had before, where he was getting outside of the pocket, doing crazy things, which he does not seem willing to do anymore, probably because of his injury history, and maybe because he's getting up there in age and stuff like that, and really has a lack of commitment to the game. Like, you are destined to, at best, being like a 500 team. And you're paying a guy a decent clip of money in order to do that. It's probably time to consider moving on. Like, you can go trade this guy for, I would think, at least a 2nd-round pick. Get something out of him. And I tossed this suggestion up, and it was kind of shot down by a couple people, and I agree. But like a Raiders team where you have a coach who kind of knows how to work with shorter quarterbacks and do some things, because the quarterback situation there in Vegas is not good, but they feel like they've got a little bit of something, and maybe Kyler could provide a spark. But outside of that, like, you're looking at teams that maybe before the trade deadline have a quarterback completely go down, and if the Cardinals are willing to tank on this season, they could try to move Kyler. But it's going to be a tough thing to sell, because Kyler's been the face of the franchise for so many years now. But the being the face of the franchise and being bad are two things that are completely antagonistic of one another, and they have to come to terms with the fact that he is not helping this team win. And it's the proof is in the pudding from Sunday.
Man, I agree. I was watching this game back. I didn't get to watch all the games, because I was fucking flying. So went back and watched the majority of these in condensed versions. The offense just looked like it was distributed so much better. Marvin Harrison seemed like he was playing really well in this game until he goes out with the concussion. The possible concussion. I don't know what has officially come up of that. But I mean, he slammed the back of his head hard as fuck. It just, everything was working so much more like an NFL offense was, that I was shocked. Because I love Jacoby, but Jacoby is a backup quarterback. He's not a starter. He's definitely not a day one starter. Now we'll talk about a guy coming up who I think is fucking spectacular very shortly. But I mean, this Cardinals team's in a bad spot. Kyler is not their guy. It's just, I don't know who is going to give up what for Kyler, though. Like, at this point, you've seen that, sure, he can be kind of a playmaker, but you have to have something perfectly dialed up. You have to have an offensive scheme that is perfect for Kyler.
And that's the thing, is I don't think the playmaker days are in front of him anymore. What we saw in the seasons from Kyler, where he was doing MVP stuff, it was all ad lib outside the pocket, on the move, making crazy throws because he was athletic, he was tough to get down, and a solid runner. But you look at the play recently, and is he mobile in the pocket? Sure, but he's not escaping, and he's not getting the runs like he used to. And I don't know if that's a business decision because he's been injured from that style of play, or if it's the system kind of forcing him not to be. But I don't think that that's there for him anymore. And at that point, that's what made him special. And now he's mediocre because of it.
Yeah. One thing quick here on this Colts team, though. We know their defense is really good, and Daniel Jones has kind of fucking come out of nowhere. But I think a lot of people vastly underestimated how good their weapons were. Jonathan Taylor looks like he is back to being one of the best backs in the league. Tyler Warren has come into the league and is easily one of the top 5 tight ends in the league right now from fucking day one. Alec Pierce is an absolute menace on the deep ball. Downs is really good in the short to intermediate game. They have options all over the field. They don't necessarily have a big time, like big body wide receiver, but I think Tyler Warren is kind of taking care of that. So the fact that they have so many pieces has probably really helped Daniel Jones. And I think that was probably an underrated aspect going into the season, how good those weapons were actually going to perform.
Yeah. Yeah. And you didn't even bring up Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman is still a solid, steady possession receiver. Like,
yeah.
They've got guys all over the place. Like, you look at this Colts team, they're 5-1. If it wasn't for the fact that Adonai Mitchell had 2 major fuck ups in the one game that they lost, they're probably winning that game. They're probably undefeated right now. Like, Adonai Mitchell going in for the touchdown and not dropping the ball beforehand is probably a win. And then having a touchdown called back because of a penalty from Adonai Mitchell, they probably win. So, like, this Colts team, while yes, they have played some of these games closer to some of these opponents, they still have come out up on top, obviously 5 out of 6 times. They're really fucking good, man. And people need to give them their due credit. Next up, we have the Chargers and Dolphins. Chargers do end up getting the win here because you got a hell of a fucking baller in Ladd McConkey and a hell of a fucking baller in Herbert. That last string of plays of he was fucking sacked and it just said, no, sir.
Yeah.
And got the ball out. And my boy, Kamani Vidal, banging that fucking table for a while, had himself a good goddamn day. The Chargers go out and get a win, and they needed it because this team is extremely hurt, and you were going up against a bad team, and so you're very hurt. You're playing more down to that Dolphins level, and the Dolphins, they got some teeth to them, I guess. You know, obviously Waller is having such a fucking career resurgence right now.
Yeah.
Waddle is still showing to be a good receiver, and you got Ashane. But this Dolphins team is cursed, man.
Yeah.
And it took some pretty spectacular play from the star playmakers there from this Chargers team in order to get themselves a dub.
I don't know how much more I want to pile on this Dolphins team. Let's talk about the perseverance of the Chargers because, man, they are beat the fuck up. Their offensive line is beat the fuck up. They're down to their 3rd running back. And I know you were a huge fan of Kamani Vidal. I was actually kind of banking on Hassan Haskins taking a little bit more of the load share in this game. Did not fucking happen. But Ladd's a dog. Look, this team is stacked with weapons all over the place as well. The Chargers team, after having a couple of down weeks, get a much needed win because, I mean, this Dolphins team is fucking reeling, man. They're bad.
Look, we have bagged a lot on Mike McDaniels, and truly, I don't feel like he's a leader of men. I don't feel like he should be in a position to be a head football coach, but we've seen some of the brilliance from his offensive play calling. At this point, I'm starting to feel a little bit bad for him because he has completely lost control of this team. And now it's down to, hey, maybe the other leaders on the team should be stepping up. And in the comments, I know that you messaged me about the post-game press conference from Tua. I had to watch it later. And obviously that was a big early segment in our show. But like, I'm so done with fucking Tua, man. Like, he had outs your health, man. You could have outs, but like he kind of seems like a petulant child a little bit at this point with some of the comments that he's making. I I don't know, man. Like I kind of feel bad for McDaniels. I look forward to him leaving so that way he can go back into a position that he kind of rightfully should be in. Yeah. And let this be someone else's problem.
Yeah. Listen, man. So I don't disagree with you. The comments by Tua, when I saw the fucking press conference, I was like, holy shit, scorched earth. He's like fucking trying to go at anybody. But the ad read, I'm glad, kind of hit on something that I was also thinking. Players only meetings are held by the captains of the fucking team, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
Tua was voted a fucking captain, right?
Yep.
Like, you're an idiot.
The fact that you have fucking who is it? Deshaun Hamilton coming out, and yeah, maybe it's a disgruntled guy who was on the squad or practice squad or something like that before, but he obviously attended the players only meeting and he was willing to come out and say like, fucking Tua didn't show up on time. I don't know what he's talking about, people not showing up on time, and listening to some podcasts with actual former players on there, they're like, that is like the cardinal sin that you can do is calling out other players. Like if you want to make sideways comments towards management, towards the coaching staff, when it's pretty obvious what's happening here, that's one thing. But the players are supposed to be bonded together. We don't talk shit about each other to the press. We handle that behind closed doors. Yep. And if it wasn't for the fact they're getting paid over $200 million, your ass would be grass. And that they guarantee that there's probably conversations that happen in that locker room between those players after the fact, and Tua wasn't on the right side of them. And I don't think that, look, the comments towards Tyreek Hill at the beginning of the year, yes, Tyreek made some inflammatory comments about wanting to not be on the team and so on and so forth at the end of last year. But like they did what they could to kind of soft drag him through training camp.
Yeah.
They're like, he's not a captain. Like he's got to earn our respect back, blah, blah, blah. The guy who needs to earn some fucking respect now is your quarterback, because he looks like an ass. Every time that there's been some sort of an issue, he seems to be kind of indicating it's everyone else. Players not showing up to meetings or not showing up on time. Tyreek Hill, he's got to earn our respect back. Brian Flores, he was a bad coach. He was mean. He was a meanie.
Mm-hmm. Well, and listen, this is not the first quarterback to do this either. There's a chance that Tua could come back from this. Baker very famously went and talked to the media about a guy who was complaining about a contract. Huge fucking no-no as well, because don't talk about the other man's money. Like, that's none of your goddamn business about who's doing what, with what. If I'm trying to get a contract, I'm trying to get a contract. When I get to camp, it's when I get to camp. So it's possible that Tua could maybe pull his head out of his ass, but I just don't think that the career arc of Tua is anywhere in the same vicinity of where we're seeing this Baker Mayfield go and some of these guys that have had issues with their head coaches in the past. He just doesn't have the physical skills, I don't think.
No. Look, Baker was a lot younger, a lot earlier on in his career, and the point that Tua is at, he should know better. You know? Either way, we can move off of this one. Move on to our next game. Patriots at the Saints. Patriots get the win 25-19. Kind of like we softly predicted when going through the Patriots schedule. They get another win here. They move to 4-2. Another fantastic game from Drake Maye. He's starting to look like the real deal. And this just kind of goes to show you, and it's been talked about in Viking circles quite a bit. And then this is my one Vikings piece here because my team didn't play this week. They were on bye. A lot of people are concerned about JJ McCarthy. Drake Maye was 1-9 his first 10 starts. He threw for 15 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Good quarterbacks don't always start off like Patrick Mahomes. Drake Maye didn't start off that way, but we saw a little bit of what was there and why they liked him. Now look at him this year. He looks like the real fucking deal. It is starting to all click and come together, and it's coming together at the perfect time for this Patriots team. I talked last week about, hey, there's a couple guys out there that if they want to get aggressive, make moves for, you could really bolster this team. And I think that it might be a smart decision and to start looking into some of that. I mean, we can't always have a Kayshon Boutte go out there and get 2 touchdowns. Going on to get another stellar wide receiver would be pretty damn helpful. Getting some defensive reinforcements would be pretty damn helpful. But I like where this Patriots team is trending. and I put it up on the Raw Dog Sports Facebook page. The record standing right now, it looks very similar to the past with the Patriots up on top back in the Brady days. We might see a quick 180 with this Patriots team where they start to look a little bit more like their old selves when they were in dynasty mode.
Man, so I don't know if we're there yet because I think the receiver options are intriguing, but not that high yet. Like Stephon Diggs had a fairly decent game. Booty had a good game. Now I did this kid, Demario Douglas, huge play threat. Fucking, I had never even heard of. But he made the huge catch, makes a dude miss. Had another one that got called back because he could have had 2 touchdowns in this game. This Patriots team is very good. They need to get Travion Henderson more involved. And especially on like passing downs, he should be in there on basically every passing play because he is a far better pass protector. And honestly, he's just a bigger play threat, in my opinion. I like Ramondre, but they need something to make that thing like really pop. They need a big play threat. Travion's that guy. They need to start getting him more involved in that offense. Now, I kind of alluded to this a little earlier. Guy that I fucking have been loving watch play. This is probably my favorite game to watch back because the quarterback play was exceptional from both fucking guys. Spencer Rattler is a starter in this league. Man, he ripped it in with confidence through fucking tight windows. Didn't get any touchdowns, but man, he played really, really well distributing the ball. They're just not a great team right now. They have a chance to be good going here in the near future because that salary cap situation is finally going to become unfucked. They have a quarterback, in my opinion, that I think they can really build around in Spencer Rattler based on the things that I have seen so far. Their offensive line is kind of screwing them right now. The loss of Ryan Ramczyk really hurt. But this Saints team is not a long ways away because I think they found a guy at quarterback.
Yeah, if they are willing to stick with Rattler and look, we call a spade a spade. We say when we're wrong. We talked a lot of shit in the past about Spencer Rattler. But he is developing into a pretty solid quarterback, a starter level quarterback in the NFL. And so if you feel like you have that piece kind of figured out and you're able to build around him, that's a good thing. And you can actually get somewhere with that. I'm not a fan of the Saints team. I do think that they've mismanaged a lot of things.
Well, their secondary is terrible.
Yeah. And if they are able to navigate this in the next couple off seasons, where they're able to get in some value guys and things like that and start to build, we could see a relatively decent turnaround from them. But yeah, like as of right now, of course, they're not that great, and they could be sellers come trade time for the deadline. And I wouldn't fault them for that at all either, because you need to start to offload some cap issues. You need to start acquiring assets and start focusing towards that next offseason. All righty. You ready to move on to our next one?
Hell yeah. I'm super ready to talk about this game because it's fucking hilarious.
All right. Cleveland Browns going to Pittsburgh versus the Steelers. They haven't won there in for fucking ever. And Steelers do get the win in this one, 23-9. Look, I know you're gonna have a lot to talk about. A lot of statements, a lot of comments. Let's go here from your friend old Rizzo on his thoughts on the game.
Feel sorry for Myles Garrett.
I don't
Stop
either.
with this crap. He's not a leader. He's a hired gun here for money, and he wanted to leave your city and your team. End of story. Am I wrong?
No, Riz, you're exactly
What goes through
right.
your mind? What goes through your mind? I don't know. Every Friday when the direct deposit goes into my checking account, that's what goes through my mind.
If he's gonna talk like this, Riz,
the ass kissing of this guy is insane. Boy, are you getting the Tony Rizzo show today, man? You want Tony Rizzo today? You're getting Tony Rizzo as if you were at my house.
Riz, if Myles Garrett wanted out so bad, he should have stood. He should have stood by his demand and forced his way out.
What goes
Enough.
through your mind? What goes through your mind? What? What are you talking about? Myles Garrett was a no-show yesterday. He never plays well against the Steelers. Rarely. Myles, where the hell were you yesterday? That's my question. Oh, what goes through your mind when their ears are pinned back and everybody's getting a bunch of sacks? I don't give a crap how many sacks Myles Garrett has. I'm not here for Myles Garrett. I want to win.
Some strong comments from Tony Rizzo. And that's just one of many storylines I think that kind of come from your game. Obviously, we have the second starting performance from Dillon Gabriel at this point. Yep. Some major whoopsies, again, if you will, from the coaching staff, in particular, Stefanski. But I assure you, we need to do better. And then, you do have Myles Garrett kind of talking about, not being happy with the performance and things like that. But then again, he did kind of sign up to be in the situation. It wasn't like he was unaware of what he was signing for, and he's getting his money. And that's good. I mean, I don't have a ton of thoughts on this game, Mike, because I know you do have a lot of thoughts, and that we need to kind of allow you to breathe there. But look, I think that Stefanski he has to go. Things are at that culminating point where there isn't a whole lot of we can fix this. There's the conversations again about Shedeur and when do you start to put Shedeur out there. I'll say from what I saw in this performance from Dillon Gabriel was the same kind of stuff that we saw last week. Overthrows, misses. I didn't think the accuracy was there. He had some times where he was throwing essentially between the tackles and intermediate throws where his accuracy wasn't terrible, as long as it wasn't boinking off of Isaiah Bonds' helmet. But it might be a height issue. It might be some to do with his accuracy overall. But like at some point in time, I do expect them to give Shedeur a shot. And I do think that at this point in your season, you kind of need to decide, okay, we need to play both these guys, see what we have here, see if this is going to be tenable going into next year with either of these guys. Because again, quarterbacks, just like we kind of said previously with some of the guys that we've talked about already, you can't expect magic in the first game or two. They're not Patrick Mahomes, but some guys will develop into good players. And I hold that in respect when I talk about Dillon Gabriel and his potential for growth and getting better as a quarterback. But I still think that there are some serious concerns there. The layering of passes, the accuracy, especially throws towards the outside. I mean, there was an open touchdown that he missed when he scrambled and booted out to the left. There's issues there, man. And it's concerning. And if Shedeur doesn't start under Stefanski, I'm sure that the interim head coach will kind of shake things up and play Shedeur at some point in time. But with that, I yield the floor to you.
Okay, so I don't necessarily have a ton to say about the game because, I mean, it was shit. We were never in it. The offense, once again, didn't really show up. You threw it 52 times with Dillon Gabriel. I don't understand that fucking game plan.
Coaching
once again. Dillon Gabriel held on to the ball for entirely too fucking long in this game. He almost threw a pick six that I almost called over on X because every time he was throwing into the flat, he was doing it late. Herbert should have taken that shit for six on the last one, but he just can't catch. So the offensive line's not doing what they're supposed to do. The wide receivers cannot catch the fucking ball consistently. Jerry Jeudy had 13 targets and 5 catches. That ain't good. All those misses are not on Dillon. Some of those are on Jerry. This team is playing like absolute dog shit from top to bottom. And I think there's a lot of talent on this team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Myles Garrett didn't show up. Honestly, I think it's going to be really hard for the defense to continue to show up week after week after week when your fucking offense cannot score any goddamn points. They cannot stay on the field. They haven't scored 20 in almost a fucking year. So, of course, the defense is fucking angry. Now, I understand Rizzo's point that Myles should be out there busting his ass, but at the same time, when you go and you put in all this work week after week after week, and the schmuck running the program is going to fuck the team over anyways in the end because he can't call a goddamn offense with the people that we have. I mean, I don't know what you expect. Kevin Stefanski needs to be fired. And on the point of the Steelers and Browns, the comments by Mike Tomlin after the game, I completely understand. Why would you trade Joe Flacco within division? And obviously it's not good for the Steelers because they got to play the Bengals with Joe Flacco now. But his comments about Andrew Berry trying to be the smartest guy in the fucking room makes a lot of sense. That we always have a guy who's trying to be the smartest guy in the fucking room, and Andrew Berry or Kevin Stefanski. When Stefanski was questioned about the comments, didn't answer. Like, it does. This whole shit show needs to come to an end sooner rather than later, because you're going to waste time for players that are quality guys, quality players who are on contracts that we can use. And like Myles Garrett, we have to make something out of his time here, because it's impossible to trade his contract. So the longer we prolong this fucking nonsense with Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry, and we're going to do this like nobody else does, and obviously it's going to work because nobody's ever made it work before, but we will. Shut the fuck up. You guys are both stupid as shit. The entire NFL is laughing at us. It is insane. The moves that have happened and the talent that is on the field that cannot get it done. I would be willing to bet Mike Tomlin was probably behind the scenes saying, fucking don't hurt Dylan Gabriel. Very similar to how he said, don't hurt fucking Anthony Richardson. I can't wait for Shedeur to start. I don't know when it's going to happen. And here's the thing. Shedeur might come in and look like shit too. Because who knows what the fuck's going to happen with this offense. Especially if Kevin Stefanski's calling the goddamn plays. So you cannot get a true measure of what this team is, how good these guys are, when your offensive head coach and your play caller cannot call a game plan that produces at least 20 fucking points. I'm done. I'm ready. I'm out on Kevin Stefanski. He should be fired today, tomorrow, yesterday.
All right. So I think, obviously we're in agreement there with Stefanski. The next question kind of comes to Andrew Berry. Now, Andrew Berry's been there for 6 years?
Same time as fucking.
And I will absolutely put my hand up and say this year in the draft, he did a fucking bang up job. He did a great job. But outside of that, the personnel decisions, the moves, the contracts, the Baker and Deshaun thing, and all of that, and just kind of some of the contract hell that you've been put through, is it worth cleaning shop despite the fact that he just earned a new contract?
I mean, it's not my money. So, of course, I could easily say, yeah, Jimmy, fire these two schmucks and hire somebody new. But at the same token, we've had some guests on in the past, Carmen Angelo, who says it doesn't matter what happens here because Jimmy Haslam's the guy that's going to be making the hire. He's going to hire some yes man schmuck. And if you go back and look at the list of guys that have been hired as head coach, it kind of fucking makes sense. Not necessarily leaders of men. So I don't know where the fuck we could go from here, because if we fire these two guys who've probably given us more success than anybody since we've come back, we're going to have to let Jimmy Haslam be the one that decides who the fuck is going to hire the next coach. Or he's going to hire some baseball analytics guy to do it. And that makes no fucking sense either. Like, that's so frustrating. I miss Baker. I want to watch Shedeur play because I need some sort of excitement from this Browns team again. Because I thought that, we would get a little bit of that with Joe Flacco. Well, guess what? Joe's gone. We're not scoring any fucking points. We weren't when he was here either. This whole brand of football needs to change. The Browns fucking stink. Kevin Stefanski stinks.
we talk a lot about culture changes and things like that, and it feels like your team needs a culture changer. And it'll be interesting to see whether or not Haslam would be willing to bring someone in that is able to do that. Because the truth of the matter is, you guys do have a pretty fucking talented roster. You have a good defense. You have the semblance of pieces on offense. You've got a good running back. You questions at quarterback for sure. The offensive line isn't the worst in the league by any means. Like, and you've got some receivers that can do the job. Like Jerry Jeudy, yes, had a bad game, but like we've also seen him in the past have good games. Cedric Tillman's not out there, but he is slowly but surely ascending. Like, I don't think that this team roster-wise is that far off. Like a good offseason or two with good coaching, it could be a really good situation there. But I don't know if that's going to be happening. Obviously not with Stefanski there, but I don't know about Barry either, because the coach and the GM have to be in lockstep. One of them has to be in control, even if there is a almighty magnanimous power above them and Haslam. But like, it could be an enviable spot for a coach to go to because of the situation as far as personnel. The other stuff, though, that kind of makes it a little bit of a tougher sell. And no, you can't have my Brian Flores.
That's who I want.
Well, you already got a good defense.
Exactly. So Brian Flores will come in. He'll be the defensive head coach. And I know that B-Flow is smart enough to just go hire a guy.
He would bring Josh McCown. He would bring Josh McCown with him.
Cool. Fucking, that'd be great, because McCown has played here in Cleveland and understands what it means to be a fucking Brown. Like, that sounds fantastic to me.
You can't have either.
Sign me up for that tandem right now.
No, can't happen. They're mine.
And you know what? There's a lot of relationship between those two organizations.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. Come on, people.
All right.
Would Jimmy hire a coach like Brian Flores, though? That's the question.
I mean, he'd be going against the league right now because he still has an open legal matter against him. Yeah. Well, look, with that, let's go ahead and move on. Dallas Cowboys, Carolina Panthers. Panthers get the win here. We're both wrong on this one, but the Panthers 2 weeks in a row on the shoulders of Rico, Dowdle. He said, buckle up. Cowboys did not fucking buckle up. And when I say Cowboys, I obviously mean the 2024 Cincinnati Bengals, because that's what this team is. No defense, all offense. The Cowboys offense looks fantastic, spectacular. They're able to put up points. They got playmakers all over the place, and they're about to get better because CeeDee Lamb is going to be coming back.
Mm-hmm.
But man, can you imagine what this Cowboys team would look like if they had some good players on the defense? Maybe even like an edge rusher that was like really fucking good, one of the best in the league, top 3, something like that.
Jerry just said that they have like the best pass rusher sets that they've had in forever, or they were right there. Like, I don't know. I have to find the quote again about what Jerry said about fucking their pass rushers, but it's straight out of a loony bin.
I believe that statement from Jerry just about as much as I believe that cold sore on his face is from fucking kissing fucking wounded veterans or some shit like that. I don't know. Like, fucking this defense, like this team is a good offense. I don't know what to say. Like, the Cowboys are going to be a tough one to measure this year because that offense absolutely can't put up points. And we saw a bad Bengals defense last year hold back a team, but still have that team put up massive amounts of points and get some wins because of it and stay somewhat relevant. It is not a playoff team because they are one half of a football team. They'll get some wins for sure. This team is trending towards a 500 season though, because week in and week out, you are going to play some teams that you need to have a defense to be able to defend against. But Panthers, good on them. Good gritty win. Rico, Dowdle, he might actually be taking the over as the lead back here because Chuba Hubbard, for all the good things that he did last year and everything, like Dowdle is looking that much better. He is looking like a vintage good running back here, and thank God I got him on the fantasy team. Yeah, and he's not going down. He is breaking tackles too, and to go and do that against the team that lets you walk in the offseason has to be a good feeling. So,
you ready for this quote by Jerry?
Sure, send it.
Where we are potentially our strongest is pass rush. We've got the most capable pass rushers that we've had. we've got the ability to really rotate our players, which is very important at pass rush because you exert more energy than in any other place. There's ways that we can take our personnel and address what happened to us Sunday. I think Jerry had a stroke because they do not have the most capable pass rushers that they have had. They traded their most capable pass rusher away for peanuts.
Essentially. Then look, that super capable pass rush group got 1 sack. Appreciate that. But we could always say hindsight's 2020, but it's kind of tough to spin that rhetoric when everyone fucking saw what was happening. Like, pay your players, pay your player when they're a top 3 at their position and in their prime.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Doesn't make any sense. You said Rico Dowdle revenge game last show, and I kind of chuckled. That's exactly what this was. Well, dude, he went fucking off. He was fun to watch. I did not realize how explosive and shifty he was. And on the opposite side, God, the running game looked fucking terrible for the Cowboys this game. And Jaden Blue, I was not impressed at all.
No. Second game that he's played, not good in either of them.
No. Has not shown anything to be like, oh, this kid could maybe be a nice little piece. Nothing. Like,
knowing how Jerry drafts, though, he was probably like, we're Cowboys. We got Blue Star. Running back to name Blue. I like that.
Yeah.
Get him in here. Texas, get him in here.
Yeah, for sure. George Pickens, huge day.
Again,
crazy shit on the field. But, I mean,
George Pickens is showing that he, like, in the absence of CeeDee Lamb, that he can fill the shoes of a number 1 wide receiver type role. And that's why he went there without getting a contract extension. He said, let me show what I got with a quarterback. And it's fucking working out in his favor. It's working out for me too, again, on my fantasy team. But really, really good day from George Pickens there. It'll be interesting to see when CeeDee Lamb comes back, how the actual share of targets go. Because if that starts to drop kind of dramatically and really edge towards CeeDee Lamb, Pickens is the type of guy that does kind of wear his frustration on his sleeve a little bit there. But look, in the absence of CeeDee Lamb, he's been pretty fantastic. All right, next up, Seattle Seahawks versus Jacksonville Jaguars down in Jacksonville. And Jags, despite getting that pretty sweet win versus the Chiefs the week before, did not get one versus the Seahawks here. Seahawks are victorious 20-12. The Seahawks, again, their running game just pisses me the fuck off.
I was going to say the same thing, man. I hate the way they fucking structure their running game, but they got to win. Yeah,
they did get a win on the shoulders of Sam Darnold, who had himself a decent little day there. 295 yards, 2 touchdowns, 16 completions on 27 passes. JSN had himself a monster day, 162 yards on 8 catches and a big 61-yard touchdown. Yeah, Seattle's a good team, man. Jacksonville, they've got some good things about them as well. It looks like Liam Cohen's doing good things with this team. They also didn't really have much of a semblance of a run game either, though. This was just kind of an ass game as far as like the run goes and some of that offensive production. But Seattle continues to kind of go on their trip of being one of the better teams in the NFC at this point.
JSN is quickly becoming a top receiver in the league and a premium deep threat as well. Has more, I think, deep catches than anybody in the league right now.
Yep. Real good game from next up. LA Rams beat the Ravens 17-3 in Baltimore. Another terrible showing from the Ravens here. We did see the run game get going a little bit there. Derrick Henry actually went over 100 yards in this one, 122 yards. But the Rams come out victorious. Didn't have to do a ton of crazy shit there. Stafford didn't even have to throw for over 200 yards in this one to get it done. This Ravens team and their defense in particular still absolutely reeling, still a shell of what they were last year.
So Snoop Huntley comes into this game, and that's who they should start going forward. They can't do anything with Cooper Rush. When Cooper Rush is in there, there's no threat of the run. Now, they did get a little bit of Derrick Henry going in this game, but the offense is – they need to be able to move a little bit more. I think Snoop should be the one that starts going forward unless Lamar is getting ready to come back. When Lamar is ready to come back, get Lamar in there.
Yeah.
Even at 1-5, you're not out of this thing all the way.
Yeah. And going into week 7 here, Ravens are on bye week. They've said that Lamar is set to come back after their bye week. So things will get a little bit healthier there in offense, but at the end of the day, their defense is a complete sieve, which again, kind of surprising to an extent. But I mean, they've lost some large pieces for extended periods of time. Madubuike being kind of that heart and soul of that defensive line group. Their front 7 looks really rough right now, which always seemed to be one of their strengths. They're very depleted there, and I think that that's going to be one of their bigger problems going forward. Is how do we replace Madubuike? Yes, they'll get a little bit healthier, but will it be enough to actually make their whole defense start clicking again? And I got some concerns there.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. Completely understand.
Next up, Tennessee Titans versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders get themselves a win here. Good day for Max Crosby getting to the quarterback a couple times. Bad day for the Titans and for their coaching staff in this 20-10 loss. Callahan's are out. Yeah. Callahan's are out. Mike McCoy's in now as the head coach. We had our first coach firing of the year. Cam Ward, 26 of 38, 222 yards. Decent statistical day, but overall just a bad day for this Titans team. Did you think it was the right time to fire Callahan?
I mean, so this just feels like it's pretty early in the season, but when you have a quarterback that you are committed to in Cam Ward and you're not seeing a big progression in his play, it's concerning, especially with an offensive head coach, the guy that apparently helped Joe Burrow, right? Because Cam is holding on to the ball for entirely too long. I mean, that's a problem that a lot of young quarterbacks have. And this team is just not very good. They weren't well coached. So is it the right time? I don't know, but was it going to happen at some point no matter what? Yeah. So might as well do it now. Now, it sucks that you lose 2 coaches, one of which is fucking exceptional and well-respected around the league as an offensive line coach, and Bill Callahan. Come home, Bill. Yeah, it's probably the right move. It was going to happen anyways.
I felt like it was a little bit too early.
That's what I thought too. It's very early in the season, but I mean, if you don't think there is a upward trajectory coming, because it doesn't fucking look like it at all. They were gifted a win by the Cardinals.
Yeah, to me, because you have the rookie quarterback, and because you are 6 games into the season, again, this goes back to that rookie quarterback conversation. You can't expect them to be Pat Mahomes off the rip. I'm not expecting Cam Ward to be that. And so the kind of play that you're seeing from him at this point is to be expected. I would rather not shake things up with the rookie quarterback in the middle of the season, unless you think that McCoy is your guy going forward, and whatever offensive system that you're running there is the right system, just not being implemented correctly, because you don't want to really start changing things up on a guy who's already being force-fed an NFL playbook and how to play in the NFL and everything. I like moving off from Callahan's probably the right idea, but this is definitely more of a move that I would think you'd make late in the season to in the off season. Starting your coaching search in week 7 is pretty bad, especially for a guy that's his second year as the head coach. And to be completely honest, I think it's a bad look if you're wanting to hire a new head coach. You moved on from Vrabel, because who's doing wonders up there in New England, because of disagreements between the coaching staff and the front office and ownership. And then ownership isn't willing to give time to a second-year head coach, just got a new rookie quarterback, and on a known bad team. I feel like Borgonzi, the new GM moving in there, probably had a lot to do with this, where he was like, yeah, we're not seeing eye to eye. Me and the head coach aren't seeing eye to eye, which is understandable. But again, I feel like you just move on from later on in the year. This feels a little bit premature, even if the writing was probably on the wall. So not expecting to see any sort of coaching boost from this team, to be completely honest.
Yeah, probably not. Well, yeah, Bill's gone. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who else is who's gonna take? Who did they name interim?
The interim head coach is McCoy, who last was head coach with the Chargers. Mike McCoy, I believe. And he's fine, coach, but I don't see this. Typically, you do this because you think that the alternative is going to give you a little bit of a boost or something like that and be able to possibly see some positivity going on in the season. And I just don't really expect that to happen based on the roster. If they had a stacked roster and this is going this bad, then maybe it makes a little bit more sense to move on from your head coach to try to get some sort of a new insight in how to use those players. But I'm not seeing that with this team. Raiders, though, do get the win. Still don't think they're good.
No, they beat a really bad team who just fired their head coach.
Yeah, and here, you have Geno Smith, 17 to 23, 174 yards, a touchdown, and still gets another interception in this game. So it's not like he played lights out by any means. 37.7 QBR. It was another bad game from Geno. It was just they were playing a real bad team. All right, next up, we have the Bengals and the Packers, and we had really hoped that the Joe Flacco-led Bengals would be able to take down this Packers team. They actually did a reasonably good job. For Joe Flacco coming in and having to learn a playbook, in a couple days and go out there and play. But Joe's a professional, and he's been around the block a little bit. They do cover for me. Yeah. The Bengals did get that 14.5-point cover. I love that shit. And they had an opportunity to possibly keep it close there at the end, just couldn't make it happen. Packers get the win here, 27-18.
I thought Joe was going to get it done, man. That'll be interesting. I think the Bengals might be able to beat the Steelers. And I think that's one of the reasons that Tomlin was pissed that Andrew Berry traded fucking Joe Flacco to Cincinnati because they got to play him twice. And Mike Tomlin loves Joe Flacco. So, I mean, we'll see how they go. The Packers, though, man, they ran the ball well, but are we convinced that this team is really good? Because at 3-1-1, they're at the top of your guys' division right now, right?
Technically, I guess. The NFC North is weird because, I mean, you've got 2-3-2 teams leading up last place in the Vikings and the Bears. You have the Lions take another L last night, and the Packers with the
tie,
gayest tie possible, at 3-1-1. So it's like by default, the Packers kind of are in the lead. But the Chiefs the Lions are 4-2. So to me, the Lions are first place, but the Packers, they're looking at, the Packers got the win over the Lions. Either way, The Packers are a good team. They are the least scary, goodish team out there to me, though. Like, I don't feel like they've got that oomph to be able to overcome getting punched in the mouth.
Well, we will see. They got some tougher games coming up. I mean, when you go up against the Bengals defense, you should have a pretty decent day. Josh Jacobs had a great day, ran wild, 2 tuds. So, listen, Packers get a win against a depleted Bengals team. Joe Flacco just didn't have enough juice. But, hey, he kept it fucking close.
Yep. All right, next up, 49ers and Buccaneers. Bucs get the win at home, 30-19. And they are, in my opinion, the class of the NFC. This is a Bucs team that is down their number 1 wide receiver. Their number 2 wide receiver, who's kind of a number 1 wide receiver, goes down in the game. You're down your number 1 running back, your number 1 right tackle, your number 1 right guard. Issues on defense. This team has injuries, just like everyone else. And they still overcome it over and over and over again. Baker Mayfield continuing to look like a fucking dog.
MVP season right now. He's on MVP days.
Absolutely. At this point in time, if you had to crown an MVP, I think it would be Baker Mayfield, the way that he's playing. He has put this team on his fucking shoulders. Same shit, different day, though, right?
Yeah, dude, so it's so depressing to me as a Browns fan. I'm very happy for Baker. I'm glad that he's doing this, and it's fucking cool to see, man, because I got to tell you, that fire, I know that the Tampa fans are loving it. I know that the fucking guys in the locker room probably love it. Him going out and getting that fucking first down with his legs was insane. Like, just laying it out on the line, and everybody's going to do that for this team because they know that Baker's going to do that. You said that, like, they're depleted in a lot of spots. Now, Mike Evans might be coming back soon, which would be fucking great for my fantasy team. I don't think that there's going to be a huge drop-off. They get a win here. Mac Jones still played a very good game, but a couple of critical mistakes that kind of kept them from being able to climb back into this one. Both of these teams are very good, but I agree. The Bucs are the class of the NFC. And honestly, they might be the class of the entire NFL right
now. Yeah, they're one of the best. Like them and the Colts are kind of leading the charge right now. And I do feel good about that preseason prediction about the NFC and Bucs getting that 1 seed at this point. Next up, our Sunday night game, Lions and Chiefs. Really thought that the Lions might be able to use that extra 2.5 points to, get the win there. But even though we didn't say the statement, Mike, it still came to bite us in the butt because we were thinking it. Chiefs get the win here. Chiefs go to 3-3. Lions take the loss. Things, the Chiefs are going to be one of these teams again where it's like, are they good? Are they bad? I don't know, because 1 week they look really good and the next they kind of step on their crank. They are getting Xavier Worthy back now. The offense is definitely looking a little bit more scary. My big thing from this game
suspension.
I don't know what to think about this fucking officiating issue. Like, it pisses me off.
Dude, I don't know if we want to. We're already an hour and 10 minutes in. We can't do a diatribe about the officials. We'll talk about that on Saturday morning. But goddamn, the officiating might be the worst that we have seen since we started the show.
No penalties against the Chiefs in this game, but one penalty in particular versus the Lions, which has really pissed people off. There's still conversations about was this actually correct enforcement of the rule, but the bigger problem is the fact that it is not allowed to be replayable. And somehow someone called down from a booth after a touchdown was scored by Jared Goff, and they want to say, actually, that was illegal, and now a flag gets thrown. That seems like a complete mishandling, misappropriation of the technology that's out there. And quite frankly, I believe it was game-changing because with that score, it puts the Lions in a completely different mindset and different position in this game. It completely changes up the way that the Chiefs have to play at this point because now they're playing down. It's frustrating to see. And for the love of God, NFL, the narrative that is being pushed because of this, like, it's the Chiefs. They always get the flags to go their way. Well, now you have something that looks like a clear violation of what should have happened with replay assist. That's not what replay assist is there for. It is to respot the ball or say, actually, that was a catch or wasn't a catch. Like little simple things like that.
Throwing flags. We cannot fucking start throwing flags from replays because that opens a fucking wormhole. Like, we could bring back fucking reviewing PI. You remember how that went? That was atrocious.
Yeah. And you're not going to, like, replay assist should be there to help, like, when Sam Darnold's head gets turned 180 degrees from a face mask last year, and the ref's standing there watching it, jacking his pud. They should be able to call back and say, like, hey, that was an egregious fucking face mask in the end zone. You need to call that. But they didn't, because that's not what replay assist is there for.
Exactly.
But they did in this game. And if the NFL says otherwise, they can suck my dick from the back.
Hell yeah.
But more on the NFL being a bunch of shitbags. 2 Monday night games, Mike. Fucking douche bags. First one up, Bills and Falcons in Atlanta. Falcons get the win here, 24-14. Huge night from Bijan.
Dude.
And look, this is an Atlanta team. They are putting up the number one defense in the NFL, I believe now. I think they might have surpassed your Browns.
Yeah. So
offense doing some good things.
Yeah.
We saw a little bit more of what we talked about as far as the negatives from Penix, where it's like if he gets off his spot or has to move on to read number 2, 3, things accuracy starts to devolve a little bit. But at the end of the day, they did a fucking great job in this game. They got the win versus the Bills, and this Bills team seems like their Achilles heel, that run defense.
Yeah,
Ed Oliver hasn't been playing, been hurt, but they have been a sieve in the run game. And if we look back at their opponents, the opponents have all pretty much done well as far as running against them. Even the Dolphins, And you look back to week 1 versus that Ravens team, and the reason that the Ravens team was able to kind of keep it close there was because Derrick Henry was running fucking all over them. They've been getting run on bad. And I don't think it's been getting talked about enough. I know that we haven't talked about it enough, but this run defense for the Bills is kind of their crux right now. When teams are exploiting that, the Falcons absolutely exploited that. 19 carries, 170 yards, and a touchdown for Bijan. More through the air. Tough one there for the Bills. And now you have a lot of question marks. What seemed to be the class of the AFC and the Bills takes 2 losses in a row to the Falcons and the Patriots. And a lot of questions happening out there in Buffalo.
Yeah, you bring it up. The run defense, man, they've not been very good. And to run up against a Bijan Robinson, who was fucking exceptional. I don't know if I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again right now. Bijan Robinson is what we thought Reggie Bush was going to be in the NFL. He's so smooth, so electric. He doesn't get fucking touched. And when you do touch him, he breaks fucking shitloads of tackles too. He was incredible last night. Falcons fans, I understand you giving me shit. Listen, I'll back off. They played fucking great in this game. Penix still has some issues, sure, but the defense played exceptional. Forced Josh into making some bad decisions. And when you can run the ball like they did, you can beat anybody. So Falcons fans, yep, you got me right now. All right, you guys are playing very well. Bijan's incredible, though, dude. Jesus, he's incredible.
Yeah, so interesting with this Falcons team. It seems like every other week they have a good game and then a bad game. It hasn't necessarily played out in the win-loss column. First week, loss to the Buccaneers. Next week, big win against my Vikings. Week 3, big loss to the Panthers, 30-0. And then a close one versus the Commanders. And now this game versus the Bills. They go up against the 49ers next week. We'll see if they have, and this is in San Francisco, we'll see if that trend kind of continues of up and down games. But coming off of that win versus the Bills, it's a pretty damn good showing. They need to get their roses where when they do good. They had a good one in this game. But at the same time, simultaneously, the NFL and their ultimate knowledge decided to put yet another game out there. Bears versus Commanders. And the Bears played themselves a pretty decent game. Commanders stuck with them. He's got a little slippery there at the end. Bears win 25-24 off the foot of Jake Moody. Now kicking there for the Bears. Did have one classic Jake Moody miss where it got blocked earlier in the game. But Bears, 3 turnovers in this game. And the biggest one came on that last drive where the Commanders were in scoring position. They were already ahead by 2 points and in a position to get another score, whether it be a touchdown or a field goal to kind of seal the game. And Jaden Daniels kind of muffed the ball, slipped out of his hands while trying to hand it off to Bill Merritt. And Bears got the ball back. We're able to get down in scoring position and get the win. A big win here for the Bears and a tough loss for the Commanders.
Yeah, that's a shitty way to lose a game. I mean, you put the ball in your playmaker's hands and shit happens. Jaden Daniels obviously is it. I love the kid, right? But that's on him. He's got to catch the ball. He's got to make sure he has control of that before he tries to make the handoff. In that position, you cannot try to force that handoff. In the rain, you have to know the situation. Turning the ball over is the only way you really lose the game right there. And that's what happens. I mean, they could have iced it. They could have scored more. They could have done a lot of different things. There wasn't a ton of time. But giving credit to Caleb Williams and the Bears, when they get that opportunity, they go down and get in position to kick the fucking field goal. And Jake Moody doesn't fucking shank it. Like, this is a well-played game for the most part on both sides, but there were some critical mistakes. The one pick by Jaden, I mean, it's bad ball placement. That just total miss. That's on him. And then the fumble. So this is a tough spot for a guy that I think is incredible. We'll see if they can bounce back, and we'll see if the Bears can continue to build off this. A lot of talk we had early in the season that Caleb Williams was going to struggle, and now we're starting to see him maybe start to find a little bit of rhythm there. It's still not perfect. And DeAndre Swift definitely helped in this game by being explosive as hell. But the Bears team is not done, and this Commanders team is, I think they're going to be okay. Just sometimes you get got.
Yeah, and I'm not sold on Caleb Williams there with the Bears. I still don't think that it's a great fit between head coach and quarterback. But the one thing that has absolutely happened is the sacks have been cut down. Caleb Williams' sack numbers have gone dramatically down, and that sacks can be a killer on a drive. Removing that opens up things a lot more and can make a team at least look average, or in this case, competitive enough to get themselves a win. As far as that last fumble, though, Jaden looked like he received the snap correctly, reached out to hand the ball off, and as doing that, the ball slipped out of his hands, so he wasn't able to put it in the pocket. You can't really anticipate that happening too much. It's a tough one. It's also, run plays like that are considered relatively low probability of having a fumble. It's considered a safe play, so I wouldn't even say like the play call was bad or anything like that. It's just an unfortunate circumstance where the Commanders just kind of handed the Bears the win in this one, so to speak. So good win for the Bears there. Good for me with giving the Bears 4.5 points and them getting that. We almost both had it, man. I was hoping there at the end that the Commanders, I was sad because the Commanders were in position to kick a field goal, and I was like, well, that's going to ruin my 4.5 spread. But if the score just stayed the same, when the fumble happened, I was like, all right, everyone sit back.
Come on, Jake Moody. Come on, Jake.
No, I was like, because look, a Bears loss here helps me in my NFC North standings. Yeah. But it also would have caused us both to get that pick right. So such is life. That is the NFL. And the NFL is wild right now because, again, we have so many teams that are near 500. They're middling. We can't tell who's actually good in this league outside of the Bucs and the Colts. It's a tough one. But teams that were on bye this week, my Vikings and the Texans, they'll be getting back at it next week. But we do have one more game to go over. Yeah. Our Thursday night matchup that we are going to be watching here in less than 48 hours. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers going into Cincinnati versus the Joe Flacco-led Bengals. As of right now, on FanDuel, Steelers are favored by 5.5 points. You can drop those 5.5 for the Steelers at minus 108 odds. You can give the points to the Bengals for minus 112 odds, over under of 42.5. Mike, take it away. Where are you going with this game?
So I think that the reverence paid to Joe Flacco is pretty well due. Obviously, we know he has been in the AFC North for a long time. Very well versed in understanding the Steelers. I think that there is a chance that they can keep this thing close. But the Steelers team is starting to get a lot better, man. I think the Steelers will probably win this thing. But at the same time, man, I feel like Joe can keep this thing close. He kept it close with a team last week that maybe is a little bit better than this Packers, or the Steelers team and the Packers. I don't know. I'm going to take the Bengals. I'm going to take their 5.5 points, man. I'm going to ride with Joe Flacco, Joe Cool, for a weekend and see if I can turn around my luck on primetime games.
All righty. Look, the Steelers team, I'm not completely convinced that they're good, even though they are the class of the AFC North right now. And I know that pains you to hear. But when you're sitting at 4-1, I don't know what else can really be said at this point. That being said, their wins that they got was a close one versus the league worst Jets. They lost handily to the Seahawks. They were given the game by the Patriots. They almost lost to my Vikings at the end when they should have probably been blowing them out even worse. And then there's your Browns game that just happened.
Yeah. That would exactly be the who's who of people.
Yeah. That being said, the Bengals, they got a lot of potential to put up some offense.
Yeah.
But if they run a Aaron Rodgers quick game type of thing like they did versus my Vikings, they probably could get the win in this one. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh on the money line. I hate this game, to be completely honest. I would love to be wrong on this one. And I would love for Jamar Chase in particular to have himself a big day. But I'm going to be going with Pittsburgh on the money line. I hate to say it, hate to see it. But we're going short week for Joe Flacco to another short week for Joe Flacco to prepare for this Steelers team. And while there was a little bit of a boost there, I don't know that we're going to be consistently seeing that boost from Flacco being there. Better than Browning, but just going to go ahead and take Pittsburgh in this one because they have been a little bit more solid and consistent on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. I mean, listen, man, I completely get it 100%. But
I don't like saying it.
Yeah. That wraps it up, though, with the exception of one thing. We have to give a shout out to our guy Blitz.
Yeah. He was a good pupper this week.
Yes, he was. Listen, when you're building a parlay, you're not going to get them all. So right now he's in, and this parlay was probably the biggest one that he's put together, plus 700. So if you've bet the parlay every week, you're now up in the positive with Blitz because there was a good win this weekend. So shout out Blitz. Thanks, brother. We'll talk to him on Saturday with another Blitz's big ass bet. But my man, that wraps it up. You got anything else?
No, I don't think so. Shout out to Blitz, plus 704 odds, hit pretty quick. He was a good pupper this week. Earned me back most of the money that I lost with my other betting over the weekend. So I'm super appreciative of him.
Hell yeah. Well, guys, this is Raw Dog Sports. I am Mike. That is Evo. Anytime you guys spend some time with us, we are forever grateful for it because time is the most valuable thing that you have. With that, I'm going to give Evo one last word, then we're going to get the fuck out of here. Evo, take it away, brother.
If you plan on doing any fishing in the upcoming week off the coast of Venezuela, I would just say change your plans, do something different because things are a little fucking shaky over there, especially if you're on a boat. That's all I got for you.
Got it. All right. Guys, this is Raw Dog Sports. I'm Mike. That's Evo. We'll see you guys Saturday when we do all the gambling. See you.